It is the grand finals here at SeatStory Cup 6. It's going to be Orange taking on SjoW. That's Admirable, joined by Raynad, Noxious, and Raven. Raynad, this has been such an incredible tournament for these two guys. How have you been enjoying yourself?
Well, I've been doing all right, man. You know, a lot of poker, a lot of Counter-Strike, anything to get my mind off of the second group stage, basically. But yeah, it's been a great time. You know, love the atmosphere as always. You know, holiday season's super fun, especially when surrounded by a lot of peers and fellow streamers and players and stuff. So yeah, it's been a good time.
Yeah, and Noxious, with this match coming up, would you have ever anticipated a finals like this one? Who were you rooting for? I mean, who do you think's the favorite in this one?
I was rooting for JJ going like from the very beginning, but now that we have this, you know, the Swedish final really at this point, like we've got SjoW and Orange. I'd say I would have expected Orange maybe to get at a point like this, so I'm gonna have to say rooting for Orange.
And Raven, I know you've been enjoying yourself quite a bit while you're here at SeatStory.
Yeah, it's my first one, and it's been a blast, to be honest. It's been so much fun. Similar to what Raynad said, just hanging out with everyone is just a lot of fun in general. But in terms of this match, you know, I know Orange has been practicing a lot, and I know in the past few tournaments he's played in, he's just sort of caught the rough end of the stick. So he's been not having the best results. So, you know, I'm looking for Orange on this one, I think.
Yeah, and for the lineups on this one, honestly, one of the big surprises to me is SjoW's lineup, where he's brought Mage, Rogue, Shaman, Warlock, and Warrior. Orange has banned away the Rogue, and the Mage being a tempo Mage in SjoW's lineup. I think that's one of the biggest surprises of the tournament so far. And Orange bringing Druid, Rogue, Shaman, Warlock, Warrior has had his Shaman banned away. Raynad, what do you think of this match?
Yeah, Tempo Mage definitely throws a wrench in things. It's not a deck you're used to seeing. I mean, of course, before the expansion, Tempo Mage was a deck that could really prey on things like Druid and Rogue. But you know, with Mean Streets of Gadgetzan coming in, Rogue is now actually doing stuff on turn one. So I think that's definitely going to hurt the Mage matchup a lot. You can't just get these free wins off of Mana Worm because they don't draw Backstab. And, you know, even the Druid matchup, like now Druid, rather than just ramping and developing nothing, they're still making dudes. Granted, they're small, they're Jade Idol tokens, but, you know, if you have, like, well, again, first of all, which list is Orange playing? I'm sorry, I've been a lot of loot.
Is it Druid?
It's Jade, all right. If I was going to go into that rant and he's playing...
Combo, Cocoon.
Anyway, but yeah, that matchup got harder too is basically what I'm saying. So Tempo Mage, it's the big reason a lot of players didn't choose to bring to this tournament. You know, I brought Mage myself, but it was Freeze because the matchup against like Reno and Rogue's a lot better. And you know, we'll see though, right? I mean, Orange is playing Reno Lock, right? Yeah. So Tempo Mage, I think, is going to struggle against that deck right now quite a bit. So he's going to want to dodge that matchup. And Warrior can, of course, go either way, just depending on both players' draws.
Yeah, I think it's really funny as well. I was talking to Orange just between, obviously, his last set and this one. And we talk about his lineup, what's he going to do against SjoW, so on. And he said the Rogue list, he actually didn't realize he had to submit an additional list until very, very late before the tournament. He played, so he just submitted, I think it's like Yagut's Rogue list. He said he played like 5 ladder games with it.
Okay.
And that's pretty much all he's played of Rogue since the expansion. So although Rogue isn't too crazily different from how it was beforehand, still just a raw lack of experience with the deck, you know, might come through here.
Yeah, I think that showed a little bit in his mulligans as well, where he was kind of, you look at it and you're like, really? You're going to throw away the teacher here with the prep and the sap? Oh, yeah, all right.
Yeah, Rogue mulligans are super complicated because it's not just a matter of like, okay, I keep these cards in this matchup. It's a matter of like, I keep this card if I also have drawn this card, but I don't keep either of them if I don't have the other. And you're not just mulling like individual cards based on how good they are, but you know, the synergy with the other stuff you're already keeping. So yeah, it's definitely a deck that's going to take a ton of games to play optimally, but on the bright side, it's just so outright powerful right now in the metagame that, you know, even playing it slightly suboptimally or mulling wrong, you know, you're still going to draw 4 Rogue cards in the beginning of the game. Those cards are pretty good.
On average, yeah, they will tend to give you enough like zero-cost spells to fuel the Auctioneer. And at this point, I feel like with the SI being cut out of most Rogue decks, we see just the Questing Adventurer list, it still gives you the blowout potential. Even with a terrible hand for Auctioneer, you can still find wins off of that.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like the Questing Adventurer is such an important tool versus so many decks, but at the same time, it's one of those tools where you end up drawing it and you're like, why do I have a Questing Adventurer in my hand right now?
To clarify, though, does SjoW have Questing Adventurer? Was Yagut's list, I know it has Teacher, but isn't it Teacher SI Agent, no Questings, or does it still...
For the SjoW's list or Orange's list?
Oh, sorry, well, whichever one brought Yagut's deck. I think SjoW...
I think Orange said it was Yagut's deck.
Okay, so yeah, Orange. There might not be any questing in there then.
That's true. So one is questing, one doesn't. That's actually a very big deal, because if the Rogue... Well, okay, well, it's not a big deal because Rogue's banned away, but in theory... If the mirror match happened, the questing list is favored.
Well, yeah, that's something to really talk about, though. I mean, maybe that tech choice influences Orange's ban sometimes. He did ban Rogue in the last set as well. And with Druid and with Warlock in here, and the Rogue Mirror maybe being something he hasn't navigated so far, that's more of a ban based on experience rather than just the technical matchup of Rogue.
Well, if Orange is the one with Yagut's list, that actually does change the matchup from 50-50 to like 70-30 at least in favor of SjoW. Like the Quest and Conceal is just no way to interact with in the mirror. So it's super favored, I think. But yeah, it's polarizing matchup. Both these players brought just really strong decks across the board, except for Druid. God knows how Orange made it to the finals with that.
He loves that deck, though. He's like super confident that
Really?
the deck's good. Yeah, he was climbing with it quite heavily on ladder in the past week or so. Got relatively high legend rank with it, so he feels that it's very strong. But he might be the only one in the room.
Yeah, that's something I've thought is really interesting. Is I love playing Druid, and I played the Jade build at first, and I was like, this just feels really clunky, and like I just lose a lot. But the people who are playing Jade Druid are climbing to high spots on ladder, and they just swear that it's a strong deck.
I absolutely agree that it is a strong deck sometimes. Jade Druid's interesting.
that's what it is, right? The sometimes.
Yeah, it's just an interesting deck. Like, there's definitely that degree of variance, like any other Druid deck historically, where you draw stuff in the right order, a good curve, you're going to blow out anything. But you can also lose to anything when you don't draw those cards. And it's not just a matter of drawing ramp anymore. At this point, Jade Druid, if it gets a good draw, and your opponent's deck gets a good draw, the Jade Druid loses because the other classes on a good draw just do stronger, more broken stuff. But the nice thing about Jade Druid is just its consistency, right? You have so much ramp, so many cards that you're okay keeping in the opening hand, and you're always going to have a passable draw. It's just that your like decent draw loses or is unfavored to almost everything. But
yeah,
that's definitely something I noticed about it too. Is that it has this really same feeling style of playing every single time I play it, but a lot of times, like you're saying, I just feel like it's not enough. I'm like, oh well, he's got 3 really strong cards in a row. I'm in trouble.
Yeah, and sometimes you just get Jade Spirit off the top when you've got nothing, and you get a 5/5 out of it. You get more fuel to last maybe 1 or 2 turns before the next Jade.
Yeah, I think it's very reminiscent of like the Cthulhu decks at the start of Whispers.
Right.
Is that
sure.
everyone was like, well, this is fairly straightforward to build, right? I need to put the Jade cards in there and then just fill it out with other things. So I think as time goes on, the build will probably alter quite a lot and actually probably get a lot better than it is today. Because even in the past week or so, since the expansion, there's been multiple different variations on the build, either heavy cycle or even then anti-aggro or whatever, based on what you actually want to do in terms of like mulch is a pretty key card that wasn't really ran straight off the bat, because as Jade Druid you don't really have answers to big threats whatsoever, and because you're only developing Jade Golems that are just bodies on the board, they do nothing else, you kind of need something to answer the early aggression or even just a big minion.
Yeah, that seems to start at like the beginning of every meta game. You have these build-arounds and you're like, well, I don't know what I don't need, and so I just have a list of cards. All right, let's see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, and Jade as well, the nature of the mechanic is it's very straightforward as a starting point, right? Like, you put the Jades in, you know what they're going to do every single time. It's just how you actually fill around it, and also how many Jade cards you need, because if you just want to dump them all in, you can lead to those sort of clunky hands where it just doesn't do enough.
I think it's especially true in Shaman, where you have, the Jade Chieftains at the top end that just don't seem very appealing. And I have Blackball, which we've seen in the tournament. It's not bad in Shaman, but sometimes I feel like it just kind of fizzles. It sits in the hand, and it's almost too slow for what the Shaman's trying to do. Like, that's one of those cards that maybe shouldn't be just thrown in the deck by default, at least for Shaman.
Yeah, we've also been seeing Warlock undergo quite a few changes as well, though. I mean, we've seen BGH creep into a couple of these decks. I think a lot of people were disrespecting the potential of Blast Crystal potions in a lot of spots. And I saw Sifka playing with a Jungle Panther a couple days ago, and you were actually using that in this tournament as well.
Yeah, Panther's just a bad Shadow Bolt that you need for the Rogue matchup. Expect a lot of Rogue in this tournament. That's definitely a tech choice you can do to improve that deck. As the Reno lock, you ask yourself, like, how can I make this Rogue matchup less bad? And you flip through the hundreds of cards in the collection, and there's no answer. So
you come up with one.
I think as well for Reno lock especially is that for a tournament, because you're going to ban a class, right? You can actually tech it very easily for certain things. It's not like a lot of Reno locks in tournaments are going to look different to just ladder Renos, because you can't tech those against things because it's ladder. But in tournament, if you're going to ban out Shaman or whatever, then you don't need to be as anti-aggressive. You know you're leaving Rogue up, so then you can do things like that.
Yeah, so we do want to remind you guys, before we get in a match, we're having a little bit of trouble. We want to take this time to remind you that there are promotions going on right now with Need for Seat. You can head over to the website at needforseat.com, and when you do that, you're going to want to click right here, European Union. You're going to come to this website and browse around, and occasionally you might find one of these. It's a Hearthstone card hidden throughout these pages. There's a lot of them. And we'll start with the attack and then the health. So the start of this is 8 and 6. When you find these 3 Hearthstone cards, you're going to make a 6-digit code. And then from there, you're going to head over to facebook.com/needforseat. And right here on this post, crack the code and win. You're going to take that 6-digit code and you're going to simply post it in the comments. Once you've done that, if your code cracks it, you are then entered to win a Maxnomic chair, absolutely free. So make sure you guys do this. It's a very limited amount of time. Head over to the website and start checking it out.
And also important to note, the codes can be switched around for the
Yes,
numbers as well.
there is no limit to the amount of entries you have. So if you keep finding Hearthstone cards, keep coming up with codes and trying to crack it.
No, it's cool. I mean, Twitch chat's pretty good at copy pasta. I'm sure they'll take the first guy. That seems like he has a-
Let's copy the code. All right, let's do this. Everybody spam. Sounds pretty good.
It's not a bad plan. Just go find all the other comments. What?
Yeah.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Browse
No.
the website.
Yeah.
Be
Wow.
honest about this.
Definitely go to that website.
Yeah, it looks like these guys are getting ready very soon for game at number 1. SjoW looks intense. And Orange looks pretty calm, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I think both these guys are pretty serious about this. Obviously, both players want to take the win, but even for both of them, on one side you've got Orange, who hasn't been having the best results recently, and also SjoW just doesn't get out to too many tournaments actually. So when he does go, he definitely wants to get the wins out there as well.
Yeah, a lot of high impact. We're starting off with the Dragon Warrior mirror match, and looking at the hands, each player kind of has one of those key cards early on.
Ooh. Yeah, it's a super draw-dependent matchup, like a lot of these aggro matchups, but holy crap, that Buccaneer draw, combined with the fact that Orange skipped turn 1, means that, and again, the worst thing you can do as a caster is like call a game over early, right? But in a matchup like this, we're just so dependent on the early draws, like SjoW is so far ahead, it's absurd at this point.
Wow, coining the Fiery War Axe on 1.
That's a very heads-up play. It's a play a lot of players wouldn't make. The reason he doesn't want to play Buccaneer and Finley is because Alexstrasza's champion would kill the Buccaneer. So it's a very, very heads-up play. It's like the difference between ladder Dragon Warriors and like tournament play. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, what I'm saying is I'm playing the Buccaneer here on 1, and I'm coining the Finley and then getting my stuff run over.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a really heads-up play. I like that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's interesting too is SjoW seems to be running the curator list. I don't think Orange is though.
I'm not sure actually. I can't remember Orange's list.
I actually come to think of it, I'm not sure we've seen much of Orange's Warrior. He's kind of just won sets without it, really. I know it's been played a couple times in this tournament. He's going to go ahead and run the Alexstrasza champion out there. I mean, and what choice does he really have? I mean, he's got to get through this Fiery War Axe.
Yeah, I mean, you drew the Frothing Berserker, which definitely helps. You want to do something on turn 3, but man, like when your opponent goes War Axe, Buccaneer, Finley, like, playing a 2-4 on turn 3 is like the same stats that Buccaneer has. It's like, it's just going to get traded for so easily with like a War Axe.
Offered life tap as well.
Yeah.
This is looking really good.
Life tap is debatable. That hero power is not as strong in this matchup as it might look.
I think based on what the other choices were, right? It was Rogue and Paladin. So life tap's the easy choice at least.
Orange just drew patches.
Yeah, that's
going from bad to worse.
It's not a particularly good Dragon Warrior player based on that draw. I think that's a misplay.
Yeah, SjoW going to squeeze in the 3 prior to...
I don't like this. I would put
weapon.
damage on Finley.
Yeah, probably keep the minion alive and take a bit more damage to face.
Any thoughts to Ravaging Goal?
Well, has he seen that card out of Orange's Dragon Warrior yet? It's definitely a tech inclusion that some people have, but a lot of people are just skipping on it altogether.
Yeah, I know the JJ Life Coach variant of the Dragon Warrior does run it. But
They run everything.
also runs Cultist as
They
well.
seem to have room for every
Pretty
card
sure
in
they're
those
running like
decks.
33 card deck or something. Like.
It seems kind of weird. Every single time I look at their deck list or whatever cards they're playing, I'm like, what's missing?
Yeah.
It's like that one time you don't put Leroy in Miracle Rogue and you have an extra slot for Shiv.
Yeah.
It was Eloise's Shaman list, I think it was, where I was like, this has to have 43 cards. There's like Thunderbluff Valiant, there's Hex, there's Jade Light. It's just like everything was there. And I'm like, where does your curve stop? I don't understand.
It doesn't.
Well,
Just play a lot of one-ofs, man. It's the dream.
well, can afford to.
Yeah, this Twilight Guardian putting in a ton of work. Wow. This is just such an inconvenient turn for SjoW to punch through. He's definitely thinking about running Corcoran in and just getting damage in. He's going to opt for Monkey and just not attacking, which is interesting. So it's definitely a more passive way to play the matchup, right? The advantage of Corcoran Elite is to get into damage, but it is less efficient. So he's taking a more value-oriented approach to playing this game.
And with Life Tap, I think it makes a lot of sense. If you can just create a lot of board tension and have it go back and forth, when it comes down to the last couple cards, maybe Life Tap gives you the advantage.
It really won't, though. Like, to be honest, like, both players are whacking away at each other's life total. Like, you get like if he gets more than one life tap in this game, my mind would be blown. Like, I think it's extremely unlikely.
Yeah, I think it was banking on the fact that the Corruptor was not enabled, nor the Alexstrasza champion, and hoping that by the next turn that would allow him to get the swing that he wanted by having just one monkey hit the Twilight Guardian by a trade. So
Yeah, this is kind of crazy, actually. I mean, SjoW just not even having a dragon until now with that live tap really hindered his plays. To Corruptor on that turn would have been really nice for him.
but that's a good pickup.
Yeah,
It
Drake's
definitely
insane.
helps, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bold tap. He doesn't get a dragon there. His turn's looking pretty abysmal. Like I mean that. I don't know.
No call runner ability after the tap.
Yeah, I mean he's braver than I am. I don't think that play is right. You draw it so rarely, right? The dragon. I guess a second War Axe would work too. That's interesting though.
Finlay I'm sorry, Nazav's first mate.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, you have a lot of hits, I guess.
And he does have Curator, obviously.
It's going to be pretty clean.
Yeah, this is just at this point, SjoW is so far ahead. He's just going through the motions, hitting Orange pretty low.
Yeah.
Orange doesn't really have recovery options. At the point where you're trading defensively with your minions, it becomes really hard to win, almost impossible.
Yeah, this isn't really a come-from-behind matchup. We actually saw this a lot at the World Championships as well, where one player would get ahead and it would kind of be over, and Dr. Hippie managed to actually come back from one of those situations where he was literally skipped playing a Ragnaros to hope Chansu would play a Ragnaros. The Ragnaros shot would miss, and then he would play his own Ragnaros and then hit Chansu's Ragnaros. I was like, that's how desperate coming back from behind is.
And to be fair, like in terms of not a come-from-behind matchup, it's not a come-from-behind deck, to be honest. The second you fall behind as Dragon Warrior, you've not really got anything to come back. I think, the Curator might be the only card, if you run it, that can help you call yourself back into a game, and that's about it. But for SjoW, who's already so far ahead, the Curator just, puts the final nail in the coffin, I feel, because now
he's
he's
a War Golem. And he's been fine.
It's kind of like War Golem would have been much better.
It just actually trades well into the...
But yeah, cards like Draconid Crusher just not built for being played defensively, right? It's literally worse than Boulder Fist Ogre.
This is like a better Beast Druid, like on average in terms of tempo, but it just doesn't get the recovery that Druid even has access to.
Yeah, perhaps.
Corcoran finally hitting the board now, and that Rag pretty much had to hit the Corruptor for Orange to have any chance. On his side, I feel.
I mean, I think from Orange's perspective, hitting face might have been like the best target, and then you just hope the opponent doesn't have lethal.
Yeah, you can get face again with it. Have your Corcoran. Yeah, that's
probably
actually
the winning
point.
line of play. But yeah,
it's fun. Every single time I'm playing Hearthstone, I look at that too, and I'm like, man, maybe this Ragnaros shot, I want it to go to face. Yeah, let's find out. Then I hit face.
There's one way to find out. Press that end turn button.
And about 1 out of every 20 games or so, he just goes face twice. I'm like, yeah, that'll do. That'll do. But now, Orange losing the Warrior here, I'm curious how much this hurts him, because I feel like his Warrior builds needs to be here to fight the Shaman and sometimes to fight the Mage.
Yeah, what does he actually want to play into this Dragon Warrior?
Rogue might be fine, I think, depending on how well it's built. It's got a lot of minion presence, and a lot of people think that the Rogue is just well positioned over Warrior. I don't know how much you can afford to do so, though, against all the aggression.
Okay, he's going for it.
I think if Orange is going to lose a deck, I think he's pretty happy that it's Warrior. It's just the Warrior really, the Mage matchup, nobody can really say. Temple Mage's matchup's just a deck that's been played so rarely lately, so I don't want to make any claims there. But the Shaman matchup can go either way, even if Warrior is slightly favored. Reno is, again, a coin flip. The Warrior Mirror is a coin flip. Like, it wasn't a key deck for him to save, so. But yeah, he's going to go with the Rogue. It's a matchup that's super interesting. It's very back and forth. Definitely depends on which variant of Rogue you're playing. So Orange is playing Mr. Yagut's Rogue list, which is definitely a little bit better in the aggro matchups. You have SI Agent rather than Questing Adventurer. Just a lot of cards that affect the board directly, like Violet Teacher rather than Conceals and stuff like that. So it's a deck that's just doing a lot more to affect the board, and it's having a lot of less of those dead draws. So
I think the less chance to whiff is the key part in this matchup as well, because it's against Dragon Warrior you can't really afford to, right? Because just as much as Pirate Warrior is like a hard count in terms of how aggressive it can be, Dragon Warrior can just be freely as aggressive versus Rogue as well.
Yeah. Fairy Dragon got a lot worse as well with the package passage being added to Rogue, because they used to have basically no answer to that unless they had a Deadly Poison equip, and now with the little 1/1 they can use their dagger with it to deal with the Fairy.
This is a tough choice.
Yeah, this is actually one of those matchups where it's so critical to go first. Historically, Rogue's been a deck that wants to go second so much, but the addition of Small Time Buccaneer in a matchup like this, you want to be going first so much more.
Yeah, you want to
often.
get the dagger trade in, right?
Yeah. Well, Dragon Priest more so. I suppose Dragon Warrior could coin Eltra's champion, but yeah, it's close. It looks like close to the nuts for Orange in that he just has like a hand that he kept, right? It's just like good cards. Like how often does that happen with Rogue? But yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Backstab come out. You can also argue he should save it. It's really depending on what he expects out of SjoW.
Yeah, I think the backstabs here is really important. Cut into Blood Taker potential, as well as N'Zoth's first mate in some of those situations.
So no Fiery War Axe, no Eltra's champion. SI Agent is going to do filthy things to this Fairy Dragon. It's a really tough spot to recover from if you're the Dragon Warrior. Again, like you mentioned, Raven, it's not really a come from behind deck. So.
And when you're behind from turn 2.
Right.
Yeah. However, there's one thing about the Rogue is unless they go into Tomb Pillager on 4, they don't really have much in terms of continued pressure after the SI, especially when it's coined out. So like, how many cards do you expect to see after this SI7 if you handle just one of the minions, right?
Right. I mean, that's the thing about Rogue, right? It's not a deck that's, like, when it gets ahead early, it's not trying to continue getting more ahead like traditional aggro or mid-range decks. When Rogue gets ahead early, all it means is that you're not dying. And when you get to the late game and you're not dead, you're going to win with Gadgetson or whatever combination of crap you happen to draw. But, so yeah, even if he's just hero powering, cycling Fan of Knives, doing that kind of stuff in the mid game after this early game, it's totally fine for Rogue.
Yeah. Do you ever attack the SI with your patches here for fear of Fan of Knives, given that there's very little from the Rogue that's going to come out aside from Fan? That you couldn't answer?
Well, he's pretty protected from Fan of Knives anyway. He can kill it with that ooze and that weapon. And he recognizes, when you get your Fairy Dragon coin SI agented, you're just behind at that point. So you kind of have to take riskier lines of play. And SjoW recognizes that. He's going to, go face, not trade the 1/1 in. And still has the answer to SI here.
Yep.
So it's fine.
In a weird spot.
Yeah, and this is kind of what Rogue does after the initial aggro counter push, I guess. They do stabilize, but if they don't pick up a Tomb Pillager on the spot like this, or say a Swashbuckler giving a 3-drop, which is kind of a scarce thing, would you just coin out Drake?
So Orange is going to think about it for a while because it's definitely worth thinking, right? You don't want to use that coin while you have gadgets in, but coining Drake, I think, is definitely optimal.
Yeah.
It's, you want to consider Swashbuckler a bit, but yeah, realistically, you can't just skip a turn by not draking, especially when you can test the monkey so well. The risk, of course, being Blackwing Corruptor, but yeah.
Yeah, and
you'll
even
take that.
Even worst case scenario for next turn, you have the Swashbuckler into potentially something, right? So the Drake just to get ahead there might help. Frothing Berserker, though, is going to be a bit of a pain to deal with unless there's an Eviscerate off the top here.
Yeah, to me, one of the keys here is that SjoW has seemed to weather the storm. I feel like one of the ways that the Rogue wins this matchup is they're able to become the aggressor. It's very difficult, again, for Warrior to really answer stuff. So when SjoW continues to present threat after threat, Orange is having to present answer after answer. And as far as the damage build, Orange doesn't get going until he has a big gadgets in turn, where SjoW, he gets going basically anytime anything's sitting on board.
Yeah, and this sap is actually pretty important, I feel, here. You can sap and just pretty much play out both pirates. So you can play the Swashbuckler first, of course, see what he draws into, but I feel like, similar to what you said earlier, Reynard, where if Orange can get into the mid to late game with a reasonable life pool, you can actually play around a lot more as the Rogue here. You can't be, trying to do the all-in, full defensive plays, and that's a gore howl from the Swashbuckler. Wow.
Yeah, usually not a card that you have enough life to take advantage of in this matchup, but, he's at 27 in his turn 5. Like,
it's going really well.
I mean, you actually have to just do the math on how long it would take SjoW to kill Orange if Orange just never drew a spell again for the rest of the game. Like, this is why, again, it doesn't matter that you don't develop Pillager on 4 after you get the early game lead. It just means you're not dead. And, like, when you're not dead, your deck just does such broken things. Like, from absolutely nothing, you can set up a 2-turn lethal immediately and draw half your deck. So
and not worry about the reverse kill, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have to be an all-in in terms of you either just die or win the next turn. You've actually got some wiggle room as well. Tomb Pillage is going to be pretty nice, though.
Yeah, drawing Leroy naturally always definitely a frustrating situation for the Rogue. It's you can use it as a removal spell if you absolutely have to, but I like Pillager here for sure.
This might have been the best draw in the deck for this specific turn, I think, for Orange. I don't think prep without any spells is worth much. So
yeah, I think you're definitely right about that. It lets him actually develop a lot of pressure. He's the aggressor now, right? He's sitting on 13 points of burst. Next turn, Gore Howl's going upstairs. Like, this is
I mean, SjoW's probably got a trade here.
Yeah.
I don't want to, just leave the Tomb Pillager there. Be like, get you for 3.
I mean, Can you win if you trade though? I mean, I think you trade into the 1/1, so your Berserker goes to 4 attack. But like with,
Man, I really don't want to take 5.
Do you,
we can
mean,
say
you
that.
mean close the game out.
trade in with the axe and then trade to the frothing?
That's what I'm thinking. I mean,
Oh,
this just
I didn't know
looks
if you
rough.
wanted to just trade in with the axe and just go face with the Berserker.
That's what I would
Because
do.
the problem is you've seen one sap, and
I would do-
SjoW does actually need to win this game at some point, right? You know,
Right.
SjoW's on 17 at the moment with that trade. He does have the Hunter hero power, so if you sneak a few attacks in, suddenly that starts to add up a little bit. And there's still Corcoran's in the deck. He has Rag next turn.
I mean, from his perspective, Orange has 3 cards. You can't expect them to have Leroy at this point. He hasn't drawn that many cards. I think playing more aggressive there is a better chance of winning, and hoping that Tomb Pillager trades defensively to set up for Gadgetzin. But either way, either way, Orange with either line, I think is just so far ahead, it won't change the outcome.
The Ragnaros, though, will wear down a lot of his health pool this turn.
Yeah, that's true.
Also sets up for the Crushers to be 9/9s as well. So
It's one of the hardest cards in the game for Rogue to deal with, much like Freeze Mage. There's just some decks where Ragnaros is such a beast. This is actually, like, the fact that he drew that is such a big deal, because this is one of those cards that can just steal a game that no other card could.
Yeah.
So it's possible that with some good RNG in top decks and, along with the Hunter hero power, this Ragnaros gets there.
well, it only takes a Corcoran at this point.
Yeah, well, if you're Orange at this point, all you're looking for are Cold Bloods, essentially. You just want to remove... Like, I don't even know if playing SI is right. I think it is, because it gives Rag another bad target. But there's definitely some merit to Fan of Knives as well. Like, the fact that you draw 2 cards and try to get that lethal off Leroy is a big deal.
And there's been no preps, right? This game?
Yeah, he hasn't drawn a single prep. Drew a counterfeit coin.
Got two goes at a prep, which should then help out with the rest of the turn as well.
Yeah, I mean, that probably explains why the Frothing Berserker was traded away. The Ragnaros from SjoW just represented so much damage that he didn't feel he needed the Berserker to connect. That's probably the reason why that happened.
No, so SI Agent's going to come down, make that Ragnaros a little bit less scary. Bloodtaker is not what you want to see here for your SjoW.
I mean, he's got to be feeling nervous.
Does this have to be a Guardian here?
This feels just so bad.
Yeah, it probably does have to be a Guardian, because your hero power is actually pretty valuable. Getting the stats from the Crusher looks appealing, but yeah, the hero power just has so much value at this point.
Using your Rag to
Nothing.
prevent Shadow Strikes and backstabs.
And you want to just play the Ica here as well, just for the
Yeah, of
extra
course.
damage, right? Yeah, you just want the 2/2 on the board.
Yeah.
I'm going to damage the Gadgetzin so that if
This
it
is a
trades...
really important rag shot here. It is really important. I can
Yeah.
tell you he wants to hit Gadget.
Oh, okay.
Of all the things,
Wow, okay.
well, let's see.
So I think you might Leroy
My God,
Fan
she's
of Knives
like
here.
one
Is it
damage
one off lethal, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Leroy Fan seems reasonable. I mean, you have 2 preps left in the deck. A counterfeit coin would also help.
This is
you-
really tough.
Do you want it? Do you need to play the Leroy though?
He might cheese.
think
I mean,
he's
the thing
trying
about
to
Leroy
avoid-
is it lets you trade into Twilight Guardian without taking the
Yeah.
damage, which keeps you out of Rag range. He's effectively at 9 life with that hero.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
Sap on... Yeah, that gives you options. So you sap the Ragnaros, There's just no clean way to get rid of this Guardian. It might just come down to a flip.
I mean, that's what it's looking like to me.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's
Wow.
The
clean.
draw
Wow.
of the
There you
match. That was it.
That was miraculous.
And also,
Literally.
so he can clear this up and then just
Yeah.
have Leroy to finish the game.
Yeah. Well,
Oh my god, this
series
back
of
as well,
fortuitous draws for Orange. Although, he has seen a lot of cards at this point. He was kind of due to draw spells at some point. He's definitely helped out.
There's a lot in the deck that got the job done there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much nothing.
Well, the game's not over, though. There's if the...
If the Rag
Yeah,
needs
true.
to hit the Gadget, and that would prevent Orange from having lethal currently.
It's gotta.
There's the scary thing is the cycle from the Thalnos as well.
Well,
got
I
a
mean,
few
if it doesn't hit the
draws.
Gadget, he's
Yeah,
dead.
I mean-
He knows he's dead if it doesn't
Yeah,
hit the
sure,
Gadget.
sure,
yeah.
sure, sure.
So it's 33% here. Did SjoW miss a point of damage this game with the Frothing attack? But maybe the Tomb Pillager goes face in that instance. Like if there's any counterplay.
Yeah, maybe he just would have died earlier.
Yeah, that's a tough position. And SjoW looks like he's gonna forego the hero power as well. He knows he needs to hit Gadget. That doesn't hit
he goes
Gadget.
face.
All right,
Yeah, that's
Orange
gonna be
takes
game.
it. Yeah, the game ended up being a lot closer than I thought it would at those opening hands. But yeah, Rogue does end up coming out ahead. And you can imagine without Ragnaros, though, just how insurmountable that early game lead would have been.
And I think that really influenced Joe's trade there, knowing that he had the Ragnaros and the Twilight Guardian, and that forced some action from Orange to have a correct sequence of cards to handle it.
It's interesting though, because looking back at the way the match panned out, maybe if you let the Tomb Pillager, trade to set up the Gadgetzan with the extra coin, the Frothing gets in and there's a lethal there. But I don't know if Orange didn't have like maybe a way to just push in for the full lethal earlier.
That's the thing, is if he's got like a sap anything.
Oh wow, Doomhammer. Yeah, so among the tier 1 decks, Aggro, Shaman, Miracle Rogue, and Reno Lock right now is a very common matchup. Shaman is the go-to counter to Rogue. Now, the advantage of Mr. Yagut's list, which Orange is playing, is it's actually much better in this matchup than the Questing Adventurer lists. The drawback for Orange, though, is SjoW's playing Doomhammer in his deck on purpose, and that card is there to obliterate Rogue. I actually played 2 of them myself just for this matchup, even though on ladder I would not recommend it, just because it's weak in the mirror.
But Finders Keepers could give a Doomhammer to
Finders Keepers is so sick, actually.
I was surprised at how good it was. I played it for memes and turned out I actually loved the card. But
yeah.
So this is actually like a really good example of how tournament deck lists differ from ladder deck lists in that, Doomhammer, while it might not be the strongest choice on ladder because it just makes your Shaman deck weak in the mirror match, SjoW comes into this tournament with the strategy of banning Shaman, right? I did the same thing, for example. So you ban Shaman, and now all of a sudden you have the luxury of building your Shaman deck in a way that doesn't really take the mirror match into account. You can play these Doomhammers to make your Reno matchup, your Rogue matchup, all these control deck matchups better. So, yeah, it's definitely a deck that you might not see on ladder as often built this way. But yeah, for Orange, he is playing a ladder deck on the other hand, which does actually help his matchup quite a bit. If he was playing the questing list and SjoW was playing Doomhammer, this would be much more lopsided.
Yeah, the bans might have been affected by that too, right? Choosing to ban the Rogue in that case.
Right.
Well,
SjoW's got some options. I like just getting some Jade Idol down because it's going to be better than hero powering overall, and you want to start using these charges before Doomhammer comes down.
Yeah, and also just the Jade Idols start to slowly start to stack. We saw it in one of the early series in the semis where even this, I think it was actually SjoW's list where the Jade Idols getting to 4 and 5, which is pretty crazy.
Not using the weapon charge here means that he's aiming to just empty them right before Doomhammer comes out. So he's going to be using them on 3 and 4.
Right, he's doing his math on when that Doomhammer's coming out. Yeah. But the issue here is if he draws another weapon, that's just a straight brick now.
Coin Tomb Pillager, though, really nice. Means he doesn't have to try and think about coining out the Violet Teacher, anything, not quite getting the guaranteed tokens down value early on. But Tomb Pillager's going to be really nice. It effectively replaces the coin in hand once it's dead anyway, so it's kind of nuts.
It's some good.
Yeah.
Oh, even Finders Keepers being like 1 mana is just great for Gadgetzan later as well.
Yeah, you could pick up some 0-cost spells even.
That's definitely a card that you'd play if you were a rogue, I think. Finders Keeper's pretty solid. So yeah.
Discover a card with overload. Can't you only discover class cards?
Oh yeah.
But there's no overload card. I think it says cards with overload, so it's like modifying the general rule.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to.
You might actually not discover anything. Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh my god, that's going to be funny.
I was trying to think about this for a minute.
It's 1 mana cycle that overloads.
That's fine, Admirable. Maybe it's not a card Rogue would play then.
Well, I was just thinking in my head, my head was like, Finders Keepers is awful, and I can't figure out why. And I just kept going through in my brain, and then as soon as you said, there's a lot of cards that they would just play with, and then you said they just play Finders Keepers, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's no Rogue Overload cards.
Well, I mean, I thought that it would just use the pool of overload cards, hence why I didn't really think it was a big deal. But if they turn out to use the
oh my god, here we go. Oh my god, the Reddit post.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Discover. Can we please make sure we have this on the overlay?
Front page, boys. What even happened?
Oh, no, he can't.
Oh, he
discovers. Yeah, it ignores the rule.
Ben Brode lied to us. He said you could only discover class cards from your class.
I was lied to.
Did he say that before this expansion, though?
That doesn't matter. They should have reiterated, and I'm probably sure they did somewhere out there on Twitter. I'm certain someone probably asked this question. It's probably actually already been accounted for, so if that's the case, apologies, Ben Brode. But until then, pitchfork.
You've got to imagine that came up in testing at some point, right? Where it's like, discover nothing. There's just 3 blank cards with Brode's face on them or something like that.
Like the placeholder art.
Great. Yeah, that would have been so good.
Well, that's an okay turn here.
Cards coming soon.
It's a strong lightning bolt turn, so SjoW is going to forfeit doing anything next turn, basically, just to get this teacher off the board because it is so important to not let that
Oh my
get
god.
another turn of going.
And that's one of the big reasons why the Violet Teacher list is so good versus Aggression, is because not only does it make something, but it acts as a taunt.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got to be addressed.
The stats are so good on Curve too. But yeah, 2 backstabs, SI Agent, Violet Teacher. Like this hand is just so good against Shaman right now.
That might have been a necessary draw, to be perfectly
That
honest.
was probably the best draw in SjoW's deck right there. That actually, wow. Any other card?
Even Rockbiter was worse.
He's gonna have to take aid from this guy.
Wow. He will though,
Yeah.
right? Like you can't let it live.
He draws Lava Burst. Jade Lightning, maybe.
Well, even if he draws,
Yeah, you want the Doomhammer equipped,
I
right?
think Jade Lightning might be the only card. Even if you do draw Jade Lightning, I think taking 8 might be better. Wow, that's sick. Prep Lava Burst. Got him.
5, yeah.
I'm surprised he took that over Stormcrack. I guess it makes sense. It's
It's just another Eviscerate,
Wanted to reach.
right? Like,
and double overloads you though costs more.
Yeah, straight up. So
He played
Whoa.
for this preparation.
What's the difference between 5 and 4? Yeah, he did play for this prep.
Stormcrack only hits minions.
That's well.
You can imagine if that card just went to the dome.
oh my god.
you got me there.
My gosh,
wow.
you guys get Jade Lightning, Stormcrack, Lightning Bolt.
I'm excited for this Lava Burst.
Aw.
Created by fighters.
I'd sap that all day.
Yeah. I wouldn't sap it, but I'd go upstairs.
And here comes the 8 damage Gaddison.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Ouch.
How does draw 3 cards deal 8 damage sound for 6 mana?
feels Thrall, man. Thrall actually looks like Pepe.
Oh my god. Okay, so no gadgets on this turn though.
Say it to his face and the elements might destroy you.
You ever Leroy to the dome, or do you just wait for the
I think you just fan.
I think fanning. just do it.
There, you're at
Ship
12,
it.
buddy.
Yeah, you're 12 health now. Use those 12s.
I think you actually do Leroy face
Yeah.
if you don't draw Fan of Knives. Like, you actually want to cycle pretty heavily right now. Wow, that's strong.
We're all shamans now.
'Cause that's one of the only taunts. The only thing better is like White Eyes or something.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh my god, White Eyes would have been insane.
A Healing Wave would have been pretty good.
Yeah, any heal. Halaziel could do some stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Could we ever have a worse heal
It's
patch?
just everything's going wrong for SjoW this game.
Dagger Mastery Conceit.
He opened up so well, and since then, just nothing has happened for him.
All right,
Yeah.
Valdir, let's go. Seal it in. Oh my god.
okay, that's something. That's something.
All right, there we go.
You see how the internet works, guys? You complain a little bit, you get what you want.
Well, there you go. Flame Imp. That is some quality one-night in Karazhan esports gameplay.
Do you prep sap the Flame Imp just for the extra damage?
I think so. You have a decent life total right now. You have some life to play with. Yeah.
Certainly not giving him another Finley.
I think Thing from Below, just because of how expensive and clunky it is the kind of card you want to play when you have either no other good play or right before the turn you die.
Hey,
Could
worst
still
case,
be another fan for later. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, now I can just easily slip in the
Take
dagger.
an 8 more.
It's okay, he's got Priest hero power.
I know how good that is.
Oh,
Oh, man.
This is a very expensive Fool's Bane from SjoW.
I was gonna make a
my
Fool's Bane
God.
joke earlier, but I decided not to. And that Flame Imp now. Not
Oh
looking
god,
so
it's
sweet.
so painful.
Oh, the Flame Imp as well. That's just game.
Yeah.
Well, no, he Priest Hero Power is back up.
Oh, he has the banner.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Damn,
that.
look at that.
The infamous Priest Hero Power here.
Look at that. You give him 7 more turns before you know it, he'll be close to 20.
Synergy. Well,
As your Drake fan seems okay here.
yeah, Orange is gonna have to settle for an absurd amount of value in an unlosable game rather than killing his opponent right now.
Well, SjoW has 4 damage left. Let's not get unrealistic.
Can you even like
Double Rockbiter incoming.
Yeah, so you Ancestral Spirit or Ancestral Knowledge into Rockbiter Jade Lightning.
Oh my god, sap the Flame Imp again, please.
I feel like Finley should change your threaten emote when you get the Priest Hero power.
The light shall burn you.
Yeah, you can't even
Can't even
burn him with light.
role play.
What's the point?
I even have that emote.
Yeah, no role playing. Not feeling good.
Okay, so yeah,
That
that's
was
not gonna be
fraud.
it.
All right,
And
well.
that was pretty brutal.
2-1 lead for Orange.
And Rogue's an incredibly powerful deck. I mean, that has to be the deck that SjoW picks. That loss really hurts.
Yeah.
Like Orange had an incredible. Well, first of all, he had a deck list that is maybe the only Rogue list in the tournament that can beat Shaman some percent of the time. Then on top of it, he had just about the best opening hand he could, which was Buccaneer, SI, coin, backstab, and second coin. That's pretty strong, right?
And he picks up Tomb Pillager.
Picks up Tomb Pillager, yeah, into Violet Teach. That was an amazing hand for Orange. So SjoW, on the other hand, right, that was Doomhammer Shaman. That was his, oh my god, is this Reno?
No,
it's
he's
Tempo.
Tempo Mage. He's got three
okay.
cards that are dedicated to the later game, it looked like. And it was, I believe it was Polymorph, Emperor Thorson, and Archmage Antonidas.
Yeah, Polymorph's actually pretty good right now. You can skip the Babbling Book, foreplay, just get the card right away. I like that. You basically, it's good against Faceless, which, well, he's actually banning Shaman, so that doesn't matter as much. But yeah, there's a lot of good targets
I
for
think
it.
Twilight Drake in Reno, for instance, is one of those things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, great in Reno matchup.
Yeah, it's very clear. I think he teched for the Reno matchup, given those three tech choices. And the Archmage Antonidas helped bring him to a victory over JJ, thanks in part to Curse Blade from Malkarok. Said, "Happy feast at Wintervale, champion." And sometimes you open a lump of coal.
Orange is really good at getting Buccaneer coin SI agent.
I don't know what's up with that, right? Like, getting the coin to start with every time.
I'm going to be honest. I'm pretty good at drawing Buccaneer as well. Like that's me and Buccaneer. We just understand each other.
You should have been playing this tournament then instead of casting. Yeah, I'm good at drawing patches.
Hey, I'm actually pretty good at drawing that one too. I mean, everyone tells me how broken it is. I just keep it. Like it's like the best card in the set, right?
Good in some matchups. Yeah. Gotta get that board control.
And honestly, going second, and once again, the illustration that you put forth just a game ago, going first with Buccaneer, way different than going second with Buccaneer.
It's a world of difference.
And book into book,
Yeah, I'm
potentially
biased,
into more
but
books.
I'm biased, but the last three Babbling books I've looked at gave the Kabbalist Dome, and it just, I don't get this.
There's some merit to SI agent here. It's actually a very tough turn for Orange.
I really like the SI agent, actually.
Yeah. The fact you get to contest that Mana Worm, you basically stop him from playing Flame Waker on curve.
You SI the Mana Worm, of course.
Yeah, not the Babbling Book. But again, you have to think about it too, right? Because you can SI the Babbling Book. There's just so many options on this turn. Definitely gonna take a bit of time. But Orange, feeling comfortable with this deck. He's not life coaching it up. He's set on the Mana Worm play. I do think it's the best play. So
I think it very clearly is as well. I mean, he's got the Buccaneer, he's got Dagger next turn.
Well, he's got patches as well.
Yeah,
so
this is
worst case scenario, he's got the 2/1 attacks with the dagger and the patches.
Where it starts to turn around.
yeah, the one thing I might have done differently this game is I would have just played missiles turn 2 and gotten them. But yeah, now SjoW's in a position where he has some options, right? He can choose to play the missiles, try to save the Frostbolt, or he can use the Frostbolt and either save Intellect or play Intellect. It's basically, Arcane Missiles. It basically has 3 plays, right? Either use the missiles, or use the Frostbolt, or use both. So that's what he's going to think through right now.
I'm chucking my spells
I
out there.
like using both.
Let's get in there. Mana Worm's going to get 6 damage.
Maybe I'm playing this too aggressively, but I really like playing both.
Missed a point of damage, though, by not playing that last turn. Okay, so he's going to go for the conservative. This is...
Consistent with his
Yeah, exactly. It's consistent with what his choice turn 2 to save the missiles. So you can save those cards for removal. Frostbolt can kill something off later.
Oh
my gosh.
Wow.
This guy plays Rogue very well.
Man, Orange is good. Look at this. Look at this. This is insane.
Yeah.
Is he going to coin dagger up?
Oh.
Okay.
I kind of like this.
Yeah, it's...
he's planning on just playing the Tomb Pillager next turn, then using the coin to go later into Gadget's Zone, right? So.
Well, he does need also a way to sometimes contest like a Flame Waker Arcane Blast turn. And so when he doesn't get the Buccaneer down, he's almost never doing that. But in this position, now 75% of the time, he can actually contest a Flame Waker Arcane Blast.
Yeah, absolutely. Well...
There's just no good answers here.
Yeah, Orange is in a commanding position. The issue with SjoW's hand, and just Temple Mage in general, is you're forced to play so many of these reactive cards to give you game against, certain mid-range and aggressive strategies. You're playing Flame Strike. Sometimes the stuff you get off Babbling Book, even when it's a good card like Kabbalist Tome, you just don't really have the time. Like, you have Blood Mage. Like, these cards don't curve well, Okay, he's going to have to play Cult Sorcerer here.
Yeah, and even to an extent, Cold Sorcerer most of the time is like a Bloodfen Raptor. There's a lot of time where it's just a 3/2 for 2 that does nothing else.
Yeah, you pretty much the big combo with the Arcane Blast is mainly the full power of that, but he does have stuff Thanos in hand. And also, if the trade happens, he could just ping it down.
Arcane Blast last turn. He saw no way to kill the Tomb Pillager. I mean, I'm looking at this and wondering if Orange is ever thinking Sap Cold Blood. I mean, he just saw no way to kill the Tomb Pillager.
Well, he doesn't know that, right? Fireball could still be in the hand.
The problem as well is if he does that, then he doesn't have a guaranteed Gadget Zone double play with the prep. There is a world in which he just draws a minion next card and then Gadget Zam preps into a minion.
If you draw a minion, though, you just play it. Like, you don't mind drawing one of your 4 drops next turn. You've drawn all the pirates. There aren't that many bad minions to draw at this point.
I think Orange is considering the play with the Cold Blood, but I don't think that's what he's going to settle on, unless he's really that confident that he doesn't need the guaranteed damage. Because at 9 damage, you're really just putting your opponent to 18, and you're really far away from the lethal.
Orange likes to make these kind of reads, man.
Yeah.
I've sat with him and played. He likes to turn up the heat if he senses weakness.
But you haven't probed at all for the Fireball, right? Like, you're still in the stage where the ping last turn was very good, but going all in is just...
I like this a lot. There's just so few good sap targets in Tempo Mage, and the fact that even if Pillager does get killed, it's probably happening with a Fireball, which is going to take SjoW's entire turn, so you keep initiative. You're getting that coin for Gadgetzan next turn. There's a lot of advantages.
It's also opening up the Auctioneer sometimes. Like, if you get backstab off with the Auctioneer, you're able to kill the Cult Sorcerer, then suddenly Auctioneer sometimes doesn't die.
Oh, yeah, the Arcane Blast does come in hand, though, so SjoW at least has a reasonable response to this.
Yeah, it's much better than using your Fireball.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things Tempo Mage is going for it in the matchup, one of the reasons that Tempo Mage used to be so favored, is that Rogue doesn't have any healing. One of the critical weaknesses of the class, even though you can do broken things, you can't really heal once the other deck gets ahead. So cards like Fireball, if you drag the game out long enough, all of a sudden it could start to favor Tempo Mage rather than Rogue if you just amass enough burn.
Yeah, I'm curious also if he's considering the prep on the Blood Mage here to try to deny a card draw. Sometimes, I mean,
prep sap.
Looking at how weak that SjoW has been really getting on board. He's going to lead with Cold Blood just to pick up an extra card.
Ooh.
That could be pretty solid.
Yep. Second Gadgetzan comes
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
There we go. There we go.
That's what happens when you end up drawing 4 cards in a single turn, though. You find the tools you need.
Oh, there's even the backstab as well for next turn because he has, at worst, the next Auctioneer. Or can use Violet Teacher with backstab and still sap, build a bit of a board himself.
There are a lot of answers here, but eventually SjoW's life total is going to start to dwindle away. And once that happens, it's going to be tough for him to sustain through a Leroy push.
I don't know how you dwindle when you've seen 2 Cold Bloods. There's 2 Eviscerates left. You still need to leave them with a board, and you have answers to those things. So I feel like he's not in too bad a spot right now. Like, the life totals are pretty close.
I think I like the Polymorph there.
No, I like Flame Strike.
Flame Strike.
Yeah, I like the Flame
Strike.
Strike.
Mana considerations.
I guess if he knows there's a Violet Teacher in the list, might be less inclined.
Yeah, but a Flame Strike's not good against Teacher on 8. It's good against Teacher on 9, right? Yeah, maybe. It's tough.
Yeah. Maybe trying to deny the coin with the Polymorph on this turn.
This game looks like it may go the distance.
Ooh, that's a strong pickup. The issue with this Pillager was that SjoW had no way to kill it while getting initiative back on the board. But Barnes can definitely change that. Even if it doesn't get anything, that good, just getting some stats on the table is exactly what SjoW wants to do right now.
He does have Archmage and Emperor in the build as well, so there are 2 very important cards he can hit there.
And even Flame Waker could get the work done with the Arcane Missiles and Ping here, so...
A lot of good hits.
Yeah, and it is... Oh, it's the Flame Waker, okay.
Yeah, he wants to deny the coin here, it looks like, as well.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I like Polymorph. I'm not worried about Edwin.
Yeah. Should get the job done, right?
I mean, if Edwin hits, he's got the Kabbalist Tome.
Yeah, he does have to take into consideration Arcane Missiles. That Flame Waker does change stuff. He all of a sudden gets 6 pings. But yeah, that's definitely going to be better to Polymorph.
Okay, so there is an option for the Drake into backstab to kill off the... I don't know, actually.
The
You need to kill off the Flame
seems like
Waker.
a bigger threat than the Barnes right now, even though it's representing 3 damage.
I might even Gadgets and I don't know. There's so many options.
The problem as well is like the Barnes, even though it's only 3 damage, it's starting to, Orange is starting to just get a little bit lower on health.
How about drawing
That's all you have to do. Just
you
say
could just do that, I know.
Say the word.
Oh my God.
What do you need? What do you need, Orange? I'll just feed it to you.
the best rogue draws I've seen in the entire tournament.
Yeah,
Amazing.
It's been a while since I've seen a rogue draw so many good answers and using them appropriately.
Is Orange just destined
Hey,
to
look
win?
at that. There's still some... We still got some gameplay left.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, Counterspell, Mirror Image. Not terrible here.
SjoW still has 2 copies of Flame Wakers in his deck, which now when he draws them, he gets... Oh, why? I don't like this.
I think I do like this, actually, because there's no backstab. You've seen SI7 Agent. There's no Phantom Knives left. It's really hard for Orange to push through these this turn.
Okay,
He's probably committing to board.
Yeah, you're right. This is actually fine because you're setting up the Flame Strike to punish. Yeah, I like this. The Edwin plays around Flame Strike.
That's gonna get funny. Counterspell set up.
How much do you consider Counterspell at this point?
I mean,
I mean, quite a bit. I mean, it's definitely worth giving it a thought.
Yeah, I mean, like, so which spell do you even try and cast it? Even if you want to try and do it, or are you just okay with a 4/4 Van Cleef?
I mean, maybe none of them right now. I mean, I'm looking at Violet Teacher Edmund Van Cleef maybe is good enough to get this done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a lot of stuff SjoW has to have to answer it.
I mean, has Orange seen Flame Strike out of SjoW's deck this tournament so far?
That's a good question.
I'm pretty sure we'll have scouted enough. We've seen it on stream.
Okay,
So
in that
you've
case,
got to make the
yeah.
assumption, right, that he knows.
Did we see the Flame Strike?
Yes.
I don't remember seeing the Flame Strike.
It was a
Beast
choice from Dragon Operative
Ah,
from
there you
his
go.
opponent
There you go.
when he played.
okay.
So Flame Strike was, and that was the only time we saw it, but it was definitely on stream, 100%.
Yeah, his players definitely do a lot of research in VODs before their matches. It's important
I
to
like
know
this.
what tech choices opponent has.
Okay.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and the Flame Strike for SjoW.
Well, Arcade Missiles is going to help.
Missiles, wow.
Oh.
Oh my God, SjoW's going
Did-
to win this game.
I mean, I think he is. I mean, he's staving off the pressure. I mean,
Well, Orange played into Flame Strike. That's what happened.
now granted, there's always the failure rate of
Yeah.
some missiles here, but
I mean, that
you don't
would
get to
take-
finals with
Uh-oh.
a failure rate, Admirable. That's not how it works.
And pretty decent missiles clearing up with the help of a ping, of course. And this opens up everything. Leroy coming down, or at least coming in hand, sorry, for Orange.
I mean, that counterspell is
yeah,
a big
it's
deal right
terrible.
now.
Do you still draw the card?
Yeah, you still draw the card. Auctioneers when you play.
I don't know.
It's
if
not when you
do.
You do. I hit
okay.
this literally yesterday.
Casting is resolving, from what I understand in this game.
I got a counterspell down, and my opponent did this, and I was like, "Oh, come on! He still draws the card. Like,
Come on.
come on, auctioneer."
That wasn't a good deal.
It really wasn't.
That was a good deal for the Auctioneer player.
Yeah.
All right, well, Fireball comes down.
I mean, what threats does Orange have left?
Double Eviscerate with the Leroy, I believe. That's it.
All right, just got to draw a Burn Spell and then a Burn Spell.
Azure
okay.
Drake's a good one. 6 cards left in the build. That'll make it 5. Wow.
Are you ever sapping? No, you're not, right?
I
sapping the
I
Mana
think
Worm,
you
eh?
do sap
You
the
do
Mana
sap
Worm.
the Mana Worm.
What
yeah.
else are you
so-
sapping?
You're about to close the game, right?
He just needs stuff to
think-
stick to the board.
One turn.
I wonder if Blood Mage is better than SI. Like, the thing about playing Blood Mage right now is it actually gives you... You can Blood Mage instead of sap, maybe. The thing about Blood Mage is it gives you 2 cards to play next turn rather than whatever it is you top deck. That's a very big deal. You have to take into account how many cards Orange actually has in his deck at this point.
Yeah, 5
That's-
left.
is it
5
5
left,
left?
yeah.
Okay.
So you can see 40% of his deck, or just 20, right?
So how many Cold Bloods have we seen?
We've seen to both Cold Bloods. I think we're 2 Eviscerates still.
Yep.
I've seen one cold.
No,
Two
we've seen
Cold
2.
Bloods.
He Cold Blooded the Auctioneer to
Cycle.
cycle.
Yeah, we're down to 2 Eviscerates in the deck.
I think I like the Blood Mage here as well.
So he's going to let the Mana Worm live.
Well, SjoW is in desperate need of some help here.
Well,
I mean, Orange
Yeah.
doesn't have it, right?
Those are...
So he wipes out 5 of the damage on board, but
SjoW's plan is fatigue at this point, and he might work.
have we seen Eviscerates?
Not yet. I don't believe so.
What's Swashbuckler going to give him, though?
I mean, we've
I think they're in the bottom 2.
Swashbuckler, Fireball?
Pyroblast. Prep it.
Fallen Hero for the dagger. Well,
I don't think it works that way.
You can't prep Pyroblast?
No, the
No,
Fallen
the Fallen Hero
power.
dagger.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, does Orange have 2 Eviscerates in his bottom 3 cards?
I believe that's what it is. Unless I've been
No,
looking
he's not
at the wrong
used one,
cards.
right?
I don't think he has.
yeah.
See, this is why I take notes when I'm casting at like the big desk, because I'm like, I always forget.
At the big
I
desk.
see how it is, Admirable. This is the little desk.
No,
SeatStory is
yeah,
not. When
wow,
SeatStory Cup's
wow.
not good
When I
enough
say
for
the
your
big
notes.
desk, I mean literally, it's a big desk.
I'm pretty
Like,
sure this desk is bigger
the Hearthstone
overall.
logo just like covers your face when you're sitting there,
Oh,
and like
okay.
your eyes and your nose like peek over the table.
Yeah, I remember
Okay.
that
That's,
table.
that's just you, Admirable.
It's uncomfortable, isn't it?
Some
I don't know,
dark,
maybe
some dark memories about rehearsal days.
You need some phone books to sit on while in
The
chairs.
things Frodan made me do to get that casting job. All right,
Frodan made me do it, right?
that's what I tell people. All right, Flame Waker.
Nice hashtag.
Somebody laugh, man. Just give me the awkward silence every time. It's SeatStory, man. Let me make edgier jokes than normal, you know?
Well, there's still a lethal looming, though, because if this doesn't get
He
double
need-
missile...
Yeah, he
this-
needs to
this
kill
is-
that.
Ooh.
That
3.
was close. Eviscerate,
Oh,
that
that's
is
an
going to be
Evis.
it. All right, there we go.
I mean, reasonably only a matter of time at this point with only a couple of
Quotey
cards left.
fingers, top deck.
Yeah. I mean, it had to be somewhere. Bottom of the deck.
Jeez, you're drawing Eviscerate on card 27. How lucky.
He He did draw well to answer cards though throughout the early mid game, and I feel like a little bit of a speedier eviscerate find would have been great. But
What
he
part
still
of
got
the game is
job
the
done.
early mid game? What turns are those?
Like 4-5.
4-5, like 3 to 5.
So mid game's
like,
5-6.
Yeah, 5 to
5,
7,
6, 7-ish.
and
Yeah.
then 7-10 is like late game.
Well, it depends on what deck you're talking about, too.
And
It's like
the
in the
matchup.
Pirate Warrior Mirror, like turn 2, I mean, you've entered late game territory.
You're laughing
It's
now,
pretty
but
reasonable.
wait until you get on the ladder.
Believe it or not, I have played ladder when there's been Pirate Warrior on there.
No.
Yeah, I know it's a wild assumption.
So SjoW falling super far behind. He has Warlock left and a Dream, I believe.
He's got to beat Druid, he's got to beat Rogue.
And you
he's
know
gotta
what?
beat Warlock.
He can. That's the nice thing about having Reno left, is he can actually beat these decks. He actually has the Reno in his opening hand, the most important card in the matchup. This is a matchup that Reno can very much win, even if it is Rogue favored generally. Now, as much as we talked about the benefits of this particular Rogue list that Orange is playing against aggro, it's actually much worse against Reno compared to Questing Adventurer.
Yeah,
So,
a little bit of a burst being found in the Power of Whelming from Swashbuckler on the opener.
yep, that's actually a great pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah, having the Twilight Drake as well for SjoW here is going to be nice. Gives him just a guaranteed power play on turn 4. Or 3 if he wants to coin it out. He might coin it out because of sap potential.
Yeah,
Because like, does the 1 health really matter versus the replay on turn 4 instead of the replay on turn 5?
right. There's definitely some. Wow, he's not even going to take a second to consider the Acidic Ooze. He must be committing to. Well, this doesn't actually
It's
tell.
kind of weird to me because he kept the ooze in his hand.
Right, that's the thing. I wouldn't have kept it personally because
Yeah.
I don't. It's not a good play turn too. So like, when are you going to play
He
it?
keeps it against Buccaneer maybe to force the extra 2 mana.
Yeah, but is that? I mean, it's not good, right? Like they probably just hero power on 3 anyway, and then yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Instead of Phantomizing, I guess, you buy them 1 draw, but
I mean, are you okay
Man.
with finding knives though?
yeah,
Like,
that's
I
the
think
thing.
that's fine. Okay, so we'll see if he's gonna go for the coin. I don't think you ever risk Bran here, right?
Well, you have to.
is really
Brand
good
is
in the
really
matchup.
not a bad play here.
Yeah.
I think I don't like Demon Wrath because you're clearing so little with it. I don't like.
I just like
I
coin
don't
Drake.
I don't like Drake because you're. Well, Drake is okay. I don't know. I don't like Drake because the brand kind of forces removal as well.
Sure.
So if you try to play this brand later, it's just not going to do much. Whereas right now, it's like demanding an answer.
It's also right into turn 4 as well. So like Tomb Pillager, if he wants to kill the brand, isn't happening here.
Right, most of the time. In this
There's
case, he does have the
backstab,
backstab, but yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff to consider here. He also had the option to, like, if he coined the Drake, that's also, like, good against Pillager, right? You get to trade into
Yeah, and
it.
then if he saps, he's only got 2 mana spare. And then the next turn where you just play Drake again.
Which is
and
why he
you-
wouldn't
in fact-
stab. But,
Yeah. So you know the Drake's like relatively safe no matter what happens, right?
Right. But yeah, Orange can't risk SjoW having a Kazakus here, so he's going to take that off the board and play into Hellfire. Just going to hope SjoW doesn't have it. A lot of the time, this is the right way to play against Reno. But don't respect their one-ofs. Make them have it every time.
And the thing is as well,
Amen.
Hellfire is like definitely not keep versus Rogue.
Wow.
Either, so
Hey, too
that
shabby.
Mistress is actually a really good pickup. And Mistress is actually such a good pickup with these hands right now.
Yeah, I guess Coil was the next best thing in this spot.
Right.
Doesn't even guarantee the heal. I guess the card's always more relevant.
Yeah, this is such a sick thing. Like, people don't think Mistress is like a big swing card here. They're thinking about the life gain, like, oh, it doesn't matter because Reno's in hand already anyway. But the thing about Reno is sometimes you just don't have the right answers to deal with the board, and they just have this random 3/1 SI agent that you just can't kill because you didn't draw your Mortal Coil. It's like the fact that he picks that up on that turn basically halves the amount of power Orange has in play.
and also as well, a lot of the time having a card like Mistress means you don't have to play Reno as forcibly, right? You know, if you can buy one more turn and get like that little bit extra value out of Reno, it's actually worth a lot in the matchups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or just get something set up, cut to the board.
Yeah. A lot of the time you just want to play Reno as late as possible.
Yeah, there's often this snowball effect though in decks where like past a certain amount of turns, you know, playing with 4 health is really risky, right? Where you're like, okay, this is good, this is gonna buy me time, and then there's a snowball effect of the amount of cards in their hand and the likelihood that they have the eviscerates and the cold bloods.
Yeah.
But I think overall Mistress is probably like that's gotta be the best fit for it.
This Violet Teacher's looking mighty good.
Yep, going in on Pillager might actually be better. You definitely have to consider both.
Power Overwhelming is what's turning the corner for
Yeah,
me.
that's true. But that's only if you're using it to trade into stuff. Whereas I think from Orange's perspective, you're using that power overwhelming only on
End
the
the
turn you
game.
kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't mind the Pillager. Both plays are solid. I think this game is really going to showcase how important Twisting Nether is in the matchup for Reno Lock. Once you do play the game in a way where you get to those later game stages, that's the kind of card that just closes it out for you. It's very effective, just like Flame Strike out of Freeze Mage against Rogue and cards like that.
It's kind of an awkward turn for SjoW, though. The hand
really
doesn't have
awkward.
much to
yeah,
do immediately without risk of possibly dying.
He's looking at dying to like eviscerate Cold Blood.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, there's what's really in SjoW's deck that could deal with this board anyway, right? There's nothing really too available except for like a one-drop power overwhelming Shadow Flame or something. So it's going to be forcing out the Reno here.
Should have made a riskier play in that spot.
No. This is absolutely correct from SjoW. I think, it sucks to have to Reno in this position, but it's absolutely right.
The Reno has to be traded into, right, as well, for Shadow Flame potential.
Right.
So.
I mean, a lot of people look at Reno and they're like, okay, if this isn't gaining me over 20 life, this card's wasted. But I mean, compare this to Anti-Keelbot, a card that's like too good for standard right now anyway. It's a 4/6 for 6, just gained you 13, made you not dead, and then contested the board perfectly. It's more than, it's serviceable,
Oh, that verse.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
Yeah. I mean, there's no minion trade required, and if SjoW couldn't deal with this board last turn, he probably can't deal with it this turn outside of a coin Twisting Nether.
If you're orange here, though, you're definitely going to consider saving that Eviscerate for burst damage. He's aware that SjoW still has coin, might get Twisting Nethered. He doesn't necessarily want to overextend.
Honestly, I think I'm fine with just going face here and holding on to it.
Yeah.
You get in 9 points of damage. Shadow Flame, of course, going to play some cleanup here, but you got 9 points of damage. You're getting Reno off board. It's consuming 4 SjoW's mana that turn.
What do you think the dagger attack or the dagger hold is for?
Value. I don't know, man. Just in case he wants to play the SI next turn, basically, and then he isn't able to, re-equip.
Sure.
There's a possibility that you need that extra point to
He's going
finish
to
something.
Shadow Flame the Drake. I mean,
No,
He's got a coin Twisting.
Just another. Yeah.
Because this makes sure that you can play the Drake and not necessarily have to Shadow Flame it off the bat.
I literally heard you talking about the Twisting Nether, and I just didn't see it in hand.
How embarrassing for you. No.
It's like I don't know how that happens. Like it happens to every caster at some point.
It's a long day, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just watching Hearthstone for 20 hours on a day and
It just
talking
blur.
about it.
Yeah, the cards just blur at some point. Just look like this mishmash of yellow and purple.
How do you guys agree with this voting as well? SjoW 80% now. The public think he's favored to win this game.
I think the public's dumb.
Wow.
That's what
Okay. Admirable with the real talk.
The real question is why is the public allowed to be fair weather fans? Why does the voting change mid game? If you could bet on the last round of a Counter-Strike game,
I think it's really great though because it's very easy to just swing. We have power over this to a certain extent. When you were playing yesterday, I think you were 10%. So I said, come on, let's show Raynad some love, and we got it all the way back up to 80 before you hit concede.
Should we get some skins, Raven? Is that the plan? We'll see.
Definitely not. Okay.
There's this website I know about.
Tempestorm.com.
Oh god. Is that the next move for Tempo Storm, mate?
Valve.
Van Cleef's a huge minion. Right now, there isn't really a crazy answer. But the Spellbreaker was put in the Reno log to answer emergencies like these, so still something there. I don't know what your play is. I mean, this hand is kind of missing spells for you to do. Do you just have to Hail Mary it?
Do you have to just gadgets and coin here? At worst, you can PO trade in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, at this point, the Reno's gone, so you value that burst damage even more than before. It's just really going to depend on what Orange... Oh. Wow, he's going to do that before coining. I don't understand this play.
I think he's just going on the Edwin at this point.
Is he going to coin regardless, right? So you might as well see what it gets you. If you draw burst damage off that...
Oh, mind control tech. Doesn't want the extra 1/1.
Yeah, it's a good play. Mind control tech is pretty common in Warlock decks these days, especially with Dirty Rat. Even having 3 minions is dangerous sometimes.
Oh my god! So
very advanced play.
Orange makes some mindful plays, man.
Yeah, the 1/1s are unlikely to make the difference. Yeah, I think it's a strong play for sure.
That's a good hand for SjoW to answer this, though.
And 1 mana away from Sylvanas into Shadow Flame here. Oh my god.
But yeah, Spellbreaker Shadow Flame is just good enough. At this point, having your rogue opponent have nothing on board, you're 15. What more can you ask for? It's so tough for Orange to recover from this point. If he burgles like a Jiraxis, then we have a game. But
That's why the ooze was kept.
But Burgle's Draxus set the
that's
game
why
fair.
the ooze was kept.
Yeah.
The turn
my
10
God.
burgle Jirax. You can see.
Oh, it was close.
Wrong one. Still pretty strong. Doesn't have an
Yes.
answer right now.
The old 7-9.
I mean, you can see
Oh,
though.
look at that effect. It's so cool.
You can see though, looking back on that mulligan step, the most important part of a game of Hearthstone, of course, the mulligans. Shows. Okay, Siphon top deck.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Must
Yeah.
be nice. All right. Anyway, the ooze, right? That decision was wrong, right? Is the reason you mull that away.
I mean, I couldn't figure out why
If
he
you're
was
not
keeping
going to
it
play
in
it
the
turn
first
2,
place.
why keep it, right?
I literally couldn't figure it out.
Yeah,
I mean,
instinctually, you
it-
keep it because it's a weapon class, but I think you're right.
And even if you play it turn 2, then yeah, you know you require a redagger, but you know the trade is always going to happen. So you've sort of just given away a card for not really much gain against the rogue. 'Cause the rogue's just probably okay daggering up on turn 3 and then pushing the 3 damage with the Buccaneer as well.
Yeah, but yeah, despite that, you know, SjoW's looking to be in a pretty good spot. Have we seen both auctioneers out of Orange now, or
Yeah.
just the one? We've seen
Yeah,
both, right?
I believe it's both, yeah.
So it's just some kind of ridiculous 4-card perfect burst hand that, you know, SjoW is worried about. And, you know,
There's
having,
an Eviscerate left, I think, right?
yeah, having seen so much.
Is there a Cold Blood left as well?
He's got one in his hand.
Oh,
is there
a
one more?
second, though?
No. Wait, is there a second?
What did he call
Oh,
blood?
he PO'd. That's
yeah,
right.
he PO'd
yeah,
then.
yeah.
So you could still
So he's
could get a couple of dagger hits in, Leroy.
Yeah,
Cold blood, cold blood.
Have we seen Leroy? We haven't, right?
No.
So SjoW's aware that there's Leroy, there's 2 Cold Bloods, there's an Eviscerate. It's still a lot of burst damage. So
She'll be really looking for any taunt activators
Yeah,
at this
exactly.
point. Yeah, just to put the wall up, right? Because we've even with 1 sap, if you get the 2 taunts down, you're feeling pretty safe.
there's no real way to accelerate the turn you kill the rogue here for SjoW, aside from just playing dudes as quickly as possible.
Ooze value.
Got him.
Orange is like, what? It's been in your hand the whole game.
There's the second.
Wow, what if he-
Oh my
12,
goodness.
13, 14 damage.
If that was
my
Leroy.
God.
If that was Leroy. Oh, man. Well,
So
do you move in?
no, you save. You don't
You-
play
you just
anything.
use- Oh, okay.
You wait for Leroy.
Do you not want to use the cold blood?
No, because you lose to Jiraxis.
Yeah.
You play nothing here.
Is Show playing Draxus?
Well, Alexstrasza, and I mean, Orange doesn't know unless he's seen every card in the deck, but it looks like a pretty standard Reno from what I've seen.
And there's the combo. But the thing is, Jiraxis has been cut out a lot of Reno decks in the tournament. So I think there's a chance it's just not there.
I'm just thinking to, yeah. Is there a second Avis? There isn't, right? I was thinking to
No,
try and get
there's
like
only one
the damage in
He's
now
moving in.
before the taunts.
I mean, if he's seen the deck list to the point where he knows there's no Jiraxis or
Yeah.
Alexstrasza, then this play is fine. If he's unsure, then this play is blatantly wrong.
Yeah. I just think the worry for him as well is just the taunts, right?
You also just don't have the mana to go Leroy, Sap, Abyss, and double Cold Blood, so you need to play something in order to have the lethal top deck. Yeah, this is fine. I would like to see him hold
want-
Sap. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this. Oh, wow. There's the Argus as well.
Okay, wow, if he draws just, what, SI Agent? Is there another one?
I think there's a second SI in the deck, and there's an Azure Drake left.
I knew I should have been taking notes this game.
No, I'm pretty sure that's what's left.
So, SjoW's going to try to kill Orange as quickly as possible. He recognizes that he's dead to Eviscerate and can't life tap. Or if he life taps, he's dead to it, so that Hellfire being kept, not going to change
Fine.
anything.
The SI.
Here we go. How good of a player is Orange?
Let's find out. Ooh, not gonna do it.
Ooh.
Oh, not so good this time. Does he live another turn here? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and
No,
then
okay.
16 from the Hellfire.
So, I mean, if he wants to play around Hellfire, he can just chuck the Eviscerate now. And
I think
that would
that's
be,
exactly what he should
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
That's a heads-up play, but, you know, SjoW only has 1 card in hand. You might...
Would SjoW take the draw here?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
I don't think I've
know.
ever seen a draw in like an actual broadcast match.
Yeah, but it's definitely something to consider in this
Because
game.
it's just got to be a regame, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no one wins.
I believe Dark Onyx took one a long time ago playing a handlock or some kind of control warlock.
Was it on purpose?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely situations where it's correct.
Wow. I mean,
On ladder, I do it a lot. but
I think as well, to be honest, at this point, because if Show loses this, Orange wins the
You-
whole
you
thing.
also
You
take
take
away-
the draw just to go again. It's one more chance, right?
you also take away life tap outs when you eviscerate as well.
Right, yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's correct.
Oh wow.
Ooh,
Ah.
okay.
Well,
SjoW's gonna walk away with game number 5.
Ah.
What?
That-
What? That was
What?
what? That was
What? That
Please, any justice. Please.
No justice.
Okay. No. I want to see more games, so I'm happy that Orange doesn't kill him, but man, that's Hearthstone in a nutshell. that right there, that's actually a super...
You could tell that SjoW missed it, too. He immediately gets
straight
up.
away.
SjoW's going to take a minute, try to avoid it. That's really heads-up play from him, though. A lot of people are like, oh, SjoW missed lethal, lol, like, that was bad. No, it's actually very intentional. The worse that you play in Hearthstone, the better that you draw. That's just how it works.
Oh my god.
That's how.
For just a moment, I thought, okay, Reynard's got something, and then I realized what you were saying. I was like, oh god.
That's how the Blizzard karmic gods work, right? So
for just a second, I trusted you.
By making a play that's so blatantly wrong, he has now ensured that his draws for the rest of the games will be absurd. Every opening hand, at least by turn 4 or 6, Kazakus, Reno. It's going to be a stomp, and I don't know if Orange has a chance anymore.
Is this something you do and explains some plays you make in tournaments?
Well, in tournaments, man. Now, in tournaments, I play well. That's why I never win.
Oh, okay.
That's so good. Yeah. Oh man, what a theory.
I mean, it explains a lot. I mean, Yogg Saron.
That's right.
Do you really need to say it
You're right. The Yogg Saron theory of Reynad. I like that. That makes so much sense.
I mean, I'm glad SjoW's clearing his head after that because he spotted it. You could tell, like, right afterwards, he was like, what am I doing? What am I actually doing?
And then that could have just been the finals.
He could have literally lost because of that. I mean, that is absolutely a blunder. Yeah. How do you clear your head after you do something like that?
I don't know, man. I've never misplayed in my life in a game of Hearthstone, so I wouldn't.
What card would he have needed to find there? Azure Drake into SI for Eviscerate? Basically, because there's no way to enable the combo and Eviscerate.
Yeah, that's true.
SI.
Well, he has the coin, right?
Pillager.
Yeah, you have the coin.
Oh, that's right. The Tomb Pillager can trade into Sylve. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, that's right.
Literally just needed to draw the Eviscerate, and that was it. Crazy.
Druid and Warlock left.
Druid and Warlock left.
It's Jade Druid.
Depends on whom you ask. What do you think about the matchup now? Because I know initially you thought Jade Druid was unfavored against Reno Log. Do you think that's still the case?
I think Reno Log demolishes Jade Druid, even if they have mulch. But a lot of people feel, Druid players feel the exact opposite. So, we'll see who's wrong. It might be one of those cases where like a player that understands the matchup just seems to have a good win rate. So there's lots of matchups in Hearthstone where like a pro player will say, well, I feel like I'm favored on both sides depending on what I'm playing. So
Amnesiac style.
Yeah. So with Druid, it's like Druid's going to be played mostly the same, especially Jade Druid by pro level players or like more casual like ladder players. Either way, the deck doesn't have too much play to it. But Reno Lock is really the deck where it's going to have the room for playing correctly. Most of that being in mulligans, right? If SjoW has the presence of mind to like mull for Twilight Drake and Mountain Giant, and he keeps those in the opening hand, at that point it's just mulch or lose from Orange. If he doesn't have the mulch, then a clone comes down, the game's over. There's just so many ways for Reno to get ahead and stay ahead.
Yeah. I'm curious if I've actually seen a Shambler from SjoW's list.
We haven't seen one.
Yeah, it might not be in there. Not everybody plays it, although the people that do, it's like pretty universally liked,
Yeah, I've played with and without it, and like I'm just totally like on the fence about it. I'm like, man, I do miss this sometimes. But
I love it because a lot of the time as well, you don't even need to get the dream of on a Mountain Giant or a big Twilight Drake. A lot of the time, just a Shambler on a second-rate Bruiser, for example, is like plenty enough. Yeah, just a reasonably sized dude. It's only 4 mana, so you can squeeze it in with a lot of cool turns, even on Emperor Sylvanas as well. So
that, boys, is how you get to finals with Druid.
Well, he does need to draw some heat afterwards.
Oh yeah, I wonder if.
Well, there you go.
Oh, look at that. Any other card in his deck? Yeah, that was good.
Takes one card. Hey, I'll tell you what. I've lost a lot of hands keeping 2 innervates with ramp.
Well,
you just rip off the Living Roots, then you draw the Feral Rage, then you draw the Swipe, then you draw the Wrath, and you're like, well, dead.
Do we like double innovate Coronaya?
Do you not like it?
I just thought I'd check with you guys.
I'm down. Kills Doomsayer. Let's go.
Yeah.
If it kills Doomsayer
that is
on
6
turn 2.
damage on turn 1. It's like you're getting an Edwin Van Cleef out. Like, this is like, not playing the Aya here on turn 1 to me is like you pray to the Druid gods and they give you this hand and you just push them in the mud afterwards.
Wow.
Nice game, SjoW.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this would be the draw after I talk about how Reno's favored. Right? This is
Oh my God, Reno.
Well, I mean, this is the
J3
nuts. Come on.
demolishes Reno.
Although, let's be honest, though.
There's not a single person who thinks that you are wrong right now. I mean, that is the absolute best opening hand Orange can have is 2 Innervates Aya in this matchup.
Yeah.
It is actually the best.
I don't think the game is over though, because now the ramp is done. So it's gonna. I mean, not the ramp, but the board presence. If this is defused at all, because like the Doomsayers.
Yeah, but
Sure.
look at the board presence. He can go into the Jade Blossom soon,
3/3,
and then Aya's going to drop down another Jade as well. So
Okay.
Say it,
I think
Admirable.
this
Say
game's
it.
over, man. I think you're totally wrong. Like, he's taking 6 damage a turn, and he doesn't have any way to stop it.
Well, he's taking 7 less than he would otherwise, and then he's got a minion
that's
to put
for
down on
one
the board.
turn, though.
Sure, but there's Demon Rat to combine with the Imps at the very least. Earthring Farseer could come down to contest one of the little Jade Golems. I don't know, man.
If SjoW wins this game, I don't know. We got to come up with something ridiculous.
I have a hard time imagining a series of draws from Orange that don't close the game from this point.
Sure,
Yeah.
I think the draws are going to be,
I mean, what do you draw that's like bad, right? You have to draw all your living roots.
yeah.
It's kind
There
of
we
bad.
go.
Yeah, I mean that's
More or less.
like the
it's
worst,
only a
right?
turn.
I
Turn
just
5,
don't know. He's
5,
getting past
10.
6 damage a turn from turn 1. Like, imagine if your opponent played 2 Totem Golems on turn 1. Like, you're just dead. Like,
And
one Totem Golem's bad enough.
And the thing is, as well, this start combined with like double ramp cards means that whatever you draw, you're gonna get into so quickly anyway.
Wow, that roots draw actually
Right
huge.
there, yeah.
Like, well, he's not gonna. Oh yeah, I just trade the 1/1. Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
Wow, that was actually one of SjoW's only chances, right? Is if Orange doesn't have the removal spell for this Farseer.
It goes trade into Hellfire.
Yeah, trade into Demon Wrath or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Living Roots pickup just showcasing some professional level Druid play. Jesus Christ.
Well, Reno on
Dude,
Kieran.
I would have played
suddenly-
Druid if I drew like this. Holy crap.
Fandral, another
mean-
body on the board.
I mean, you
Well,
don't make,
Fandral into the Ancient of War next turn.
yeah, you don't make finals by playing bad. That's true. Chat's finally going to get to live the uproot dream because Orange isn't going to have a choice. He's going to be too busy killing SjoW on turn 6.
Fandral's a weird card that removes choices from you, but you're happy about it.
Yeah.
Strange.
Oh, weird. I
Yeah,
never
it's
really
weird
thought about it that
yeah, it's
way.
weird, isn't it? That's what I said to you.
I'm kind of
Admirable.
uncomfortable now.
I'm taking away your life choices, but just know that they're all going to be good.
I mean, Reno off the top would be the only saving
see,
grace
what-
after Doomsayer's stabilization point, I guess. That's the only way you survive, right?
To me, life
And even
choices
then-
are like, they're like one or the other. It's like either really good or really bad. It's very rare that you have like 2 good life choices.
Oh, well, there's mediocre, right?
Yeah, it's kind of clunking up the turn for
I
Orange.
like the way Noxious is just
Why
not
not?
getting
No.
involved in our
Why
philosophical
not?
debate.
Was it clunking up the turn, Noxious? Why not draw the best
The best possible
five?
card on this turn. I'm sorry, man. I believed for a second that maybe he wouldn't get a 5-drop on
That's
on
your
7
mistake.
mana.
Not just a 5-drop, sir.
The
Azure
5-drop,
Drake.
yeah.
But I mean, you can play Siphon Soul here and then transition into Nether on 8 if you ever get there. I think you do now that you're not taking as much damage a turn.
And there's just Jade Spirit. It's fine.
Dude, that's
Oh,
really
that
good.
Abyssal. Okay.
That is really good.
Okay.
But there's a 10-10.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
I mean,
Sylvanas time.
if he plays Sylvanas, which I actually think is the correct play
Yeah,
here,
sure.
I think there's no way Siphon is right.
Yeah.
I think you Sylvanas every time.
Yep.
Maybe somehow. This game is winnable.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It seemed like once the hand gets depleted, Orange is on top deck mode, but the problem is SjoW also ran into a bunch of answers to his stabilization plays. He had Demon Wrath and Doomsayer, which were pretty key there. Like the stickiness of the Imp is also something to consider.
It's possible that Orange just goes all in and risks the Shadow Flame happening, but
Do you have to, right?
I mean, it's just so bad to trade in that I wouldn't fault him for making that call, but it would cause him to just lose the game on the spot,
Yeah.
right? So
I think you just Jade Spirit.
you just Jade Spirit.
Yeah, I think so.
And
You
push.
Base.
I think the thing
Yeah.
as well is to bear in mind there's still
could
swipes,
Blossom
there's
still.
still Feral Rage in the deck as
Yeah.
well. So
There's some damage.
there's some
from
like
hand.
some style of burn in the deck
I think
still.
the Blossom's going to be dead till turn 10 because you're playing the war afterwards anyway. So I think you just Jade Spirit Blossom here, go face.
Okay.
And then uproot.
Yeah.
He might downroot.
All right, to the window.
Shadow Bolt, Mortal Coil.
Yeah.
Might downroot because that.
Woohoo.
Yeah, Shadowbolt Coil would actually
Yep.
stop him dead in his tracks, but that's the play that he's going to go for.
Oh my god.
And at least there's some form of answer.
Isn't this
from
like
the-
even more all in than Ancient War?
I
I
feel
don't
like
think
it
so
is.
because if you get wiped here, you have the Ancient War to follow up.
But I think the
You'd
opposite
rather
is
have
also true.
You'd rather have 50 power of Jade.
Yeah, but if he uproots and the Shadow Flame happens, then Joe's just got a 5/5.
Yeah.
If he down
I guess so.
I feel like he's got a lot of time this way.
Yeah, that's
Like
Okay,
Nourish is going to be sick. Another Adder Strake's going to be sick. Any Jade card he draws is pretty sick.
Swipe Feral Rage is going to be pretty
Yeah.
sick.
Raven Idol can fetch minion at this point. I mean, he's going into 10 mana. You probably go for Spell because you get Nourish or Jade Idol that way.
Oh, just damage.
Yeah. Starfire's pretty good right now. Everything's just good.
Life's good for Orange.
Yeah, Auctioneer's a pretty bad draw.
Man, look at the votes. SjoW is winning 90% basically at this point. I don't know how that happened, but I think people must be rooting for him really hard in the chat.
I think they're voting on a game-to-game basis.
Okay.
Are they up
Yeah,
rooting or
it's-
down rooting for show?
Both.
It's Vandal. You have no choice. Oh, wow.
Oh.
Okay.
You can do both.
Corehound, boys, let's go.
Oh,
Man up, Orange.
I mean,
it's the right play.
yeah.
He's at 5.
It's both the right and the wrong play. It's the right play for the game, the wrong play for us.
Now, after the Siphon Soul. Oh my gosh. The
Outplayed,
dream
man.
is alive for show. I'm glad I didn't make this bet now.
This explains the show votes all over again.
I'm
God.
really glad I was about to set a bet up for this, and Noxious didn't want to follow through. I was like, all right, fine, I'll drop it. I'm very happy now there was no bet in place because
It would have been a bid
I've had a lot of these games, though. I feel like as the Jade Druid, I do something like this with the double innervate and the coin, and I just have ramp to follow up, and it's just kind of fizzles for some reason. And I guess that's because I don't find the Drake off the top to kill the Doomsayer, but
Show's looking for some massive greed here.
I think that reason is he's playing Ancient of Wars in his deck. You know, that's going to help you a lot with your aggro matchups. It's a great choice for ladder, but yeah, when you're sitting here playing against the control deck that you are air quote favored against, man, like if
those were
I
Druid
have to
Claw
be
charge,
right.
yeah.
Like, don't I? If Reno won this game with that kind of opening from Druid, like,
he
there's-
must destroy it every time.
No, I mean, to be fair, Orange didn't draw Nourish, right? That's like the best card for Druid in the matchup, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Nourish plays a big role, I think, in...
I'm talking about this game like it's over, by the way, because this game is over. Reno at this point.
What if Nourish comes off the top, though?
Okay, Nourish, I guess you can go infinite with Jades, but you've already seen Shadow Flame get used. That's actually...
Orange's face.
That's pretty good
You're
to have
right.
seen that, yeah.
It might not be over yet.
Yeah, I think if you go Nourish, where you can just clear off the I think they called him Leroy. Clear off the Reno with the hero
The
power.
Leroy Jackson.
What do you clean off the arena? I think he needs to start going face. I mean, what are these minions going to do?
no, because you switch your tactics to time, right? You just build.
No,
Jades.
You start keep going face. Why would you kill the arena right now? I mean, Twisting Nether is like awful against you if Joe's just got a board full of stuff.
Blast Crystal is why you kill Reno. But
I don't know. I just the thing is, you will win eventually, right? You're gonna win this Jade.
Orange's win condition at this point is to essentially hit that Nourish and get the gadgets and
It's like-
and just
idle
Jades,
going. Yeah. So he actually has to shuffle that one because that's the second one, right? Or no, is that the first?
That's the first one.
That's the first one.
It's
Okay.
a gadget in though.
Nice. So he can. Well, that's a 1 mana war golem.
I'll
Feels good.
probably play that card.
Ragnaros.
Probably.
Yeah, it would play
Depends
that.
what you want to do with your deck, right?
Man, the second I was bragging about the matchup, now it's bad again. Yeah, this is still looking good for Orange, to be honest. Like, the fact that SjoW has that Twisting Nether is a big deal, but Orange still has... Yeah. Jade in reserve.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Well,
cycle at least.
it's gonna draw Nourish right off the top.
I'll catch his out.
Do you cycle a Jade Idol first ever? No, there's no way.
No,
right?
no.
Oh, no.
You need to draw into cycle.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
So you save both
Saved,
of those.
yeah.
Well, do you have to kill Rag? No, you've seen...
I mean, you could just trade in for 2/2, right?
You have to be somewhat worried about Faceless, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, we can say that, right, because we see the Faceless in hand, but just like probability, right, SjoW's drawn over half his deck.
The thing that I remember doing about this is going back and watching the World Championship VODs, and every time someone had a chance to kill Ragnaros and they didn't kill Ragnaros,
It felt bad.
Ragnaros took over the game and won the game.
Yeah.
And
That's true, actually. Yeah,
I've
that's
really
true,
come to this
yeah.
lesson where every single time on ladder, I'm like, okay, I'll just go face the
I was
Ragnaros.
going
will
for
hit. And I'm
now.
like, wait a minute, just kill the Ragnaros. We still have a lot of game left.
Oh wow, that's
Maybe it's a double gadget thing.
wow.
And does this mean then, because of this gadget Zan, is he going to choose to kill Rag?
I mean, I would think he's killing the Ragnaros.
Because Twisting Nether is a huge blowout here.
If he's killing the Reno, he's killing the Ragnaros.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
thought on this.
Right. All right, good
Okay,
play
well,
from
Nourish. Yeah, Nourish helps.
All right, well.
If Twisted Nether comes out from SjoW at any given point, he's already seen the Doomsayer, so he knows there's no the flip of the board of just buying yourself an auto turn as well. So
That's a big one.
And SjoW has a plan now. And the plan is Leroy upstairs. But, yeah, Mistress is going to actually hurt that quite a bit here. SjoW just... You can't let this game go on too long.
it's going to be twisting.
Yep.
Wow,
Wow,
this Nourish is absolutely huge.
Well,
here.
at least there was no shuffle of Jade Idol just yet, and there isn't a second Gadgetsan in the list, which usually is what makes this matchup much better for Druid.
Something to note is that Orange hasn't drawn like a single swipe.
Oh,
No or Feral Rage, that's
Okay,
the first
Does he
one.
play them?
yeah,
He's
yeah,
got to
yeah,
play
yeah,
swipe, right?
Yeah, he'll play swipe. Oh my god.
All right.
There we go. Look at this next turn with Bran and Jade,
So
Jade
mainstream.
Behemoth and the Jade Idol.
You mean Mind Control Tech?
The mulch as well.
You don't care about mind control tech?
Yeah,
you have
but-
like a million Jades.
Yeah.
Who cares about him having one? You've already seen Shadow Flame, right? Shadow Flame and Twisted.
Well, look at the amount of pressure coming up on the board from SjoW here. Now, we've got the typical pressure or counter pressure that
It do-
handlock type decks usually apply when
Doesn't
they
he
get
just
a
kill him
chance.
next turn, though? Orange sets up this board with Bran, Jade Behemoth Idol, and then he just plays Swipe, Fel Rage, Fel Rage.
Yeah.
He's got to be worried about some combo potential though.
You've seen Shadow Flame. You've seen Twisting Nether. There's really no AoE that's going to blow your board up at this point.
I think he's got to worry about the combo. Because if he leaves the Mountain Giant up, like he can't Bran and play the Jade Behemoth and mulch.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I feel like if you're doing this, like there's a lot of merit to killing the Emperor Thorson and leaving it around. But if you do it this way, I mean,
look at this.
This is do or die for SjoW at this point. He has to have the
this
damage.
still sets it up outside like Blast Crystal, right?
Yeah, very much.
Leroy MC Tech can actually kill a... You can Leroy coil one of the 1/1s and never just win unless you get the board.
Leroy.
It feels so bad.
It just doesn't work, though.
I think he has to though. I mean, what other options does he have?
Leroy MC Tech is damn strong.
Yeah.
Leroy Coil MC Tech. I mean, I think it's as good as it's getting.
You got the Faceless on top. You can slap there.
The scary part is there's pretty much... You've just got to respect as SjoW that
Do you-
you've got one more turn.
Do you tap for Bran?
Bran
get
would
the
have been
Bran.
nuts to double steal.
Yeah.
But then you can't call the dragon,
You
right?
could get...
Yeah.
You could still, find yourself a defensive Argus. It hasn't been played yet.
Oh, he got the Bran.
Wait, he can still play it.
No,
No, it can't.
work
It doesn't
anymore.
happen.
Doesn't
There's
work
got to be
anymore.
5
Oh, yeah,
minions.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my god, the taunt is picked up.
Does the taunt matter?
He doesn't want the taunt because he has
Yeah.
the 6 power Leroy and play.
Now he's like, kill the 1/1.
Well, he's got it. He's got like 5 seconds to do it too.
Oh my god.
I think you're just
Okay, so
doming
is-
at this
is
point.
this just game?
It's counter lethal. Let's do it.
Must be, right?
Pushing, and then it's
So-
9, 10, 10 plus.
No, there's
12.
one. He won off lethal right now, right?
Is he?
Yeah,
What?
one off lethal, I think.
What?
Maybe I'm
How
wrong.
much stuff do you have mana to play? 2 Feral
So
Rages and a
17.
swipe?
Yeah, he's got 12 from hand.
Oh, he's got it, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but the trade into the
Swipe.
3/6 is actually really inconvenient.
Yeah, I think
Well,
I think
you-
the 3/6 is what saves him here for one off lethal.
Oh, no, okay. You Feral Rage swipe face. That's what you do. No, you Feral Rage twice, though. Wow.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
problem. Is he has to actually leave. Like you attack with the 8/8. Let's say if you wanted to waste the damage,
Swipe.
it doesn't work. You could swipe face 1, swipe the
Yeah,
3/6,
that's not
face
enough.
the 12.
22 is the most he can do to face right now.
Yeah.
So now does he have to just go for the clear and then do Foul Rage?
Because the most damage you can push it trade with the 8/8 and then
so insane.
everything.
Still pretty hard to lose if you clear, though. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, do you
Yeah.
just go for clear at this point then? Because there's still 2 Jade Idols in the deck for a start. There's still probably a Jade Spirit.
Right.
You know, he can win, and he's just seen Leroy. So, and he has the 2 Foul Rages for health. If he really wants it. He can Foul Rage 1 for
the fact
health,
that
1 for
Leroy's
removal.
gone means that
Yeah.
SjoW has like so little potential to actually get to him this turn.
Yeah, look at this. This is really good.
Yeah, it still puts
Yeah,
Orange super far
yeah,
ahead.
Yep. And without the Leroy, there's not really any reach you're bothered about. I hope he got the attacks.
I think he EQ'd it
Yeah.
up.
Okay, cool. Wow, even killing the Bran, okay. Kazakus, right?
Yeah.
Kill the Bran for Kazakus, and this is almost still inevitability here.
Is that
10.
He can kill
Oh,
it
wow.
with Soulfire.
Wait.
Soulfire? Is that lethal?
Hang on a second. You play the Abyssal, and then you have the Ancient Mage.
He's doing the math.
1 mana off lethal.
No, 3, 4. It's lethal.
Doesn't he have
It's lethal.
3, 6.
Oh, no,
7, 8,
he
9,
doesn't
10.
have the mana. Oh,
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
1 mana off
wow.
of it, I think.
Wait, is he? So Abyssal deals 3. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so brutal.
I think both players just you know, hair's breadth away from having lethal, but just don't quite get there. I mean,
I think it's gonna just still fire the 9-9 at this point. Go Abyssal,
Hellfire.
Yeah.
Hellfire first.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the Feral Rages will end it.
Yep.
Yeah, because he's taking 6 damage on his own. And he sees that's not going to work. So he's trying to go for something else, and it's not there.
Else.
SjoW's going to drop
It's not
himself.
going to be enough.
And that's going to do it. He tries to fend it off, but turn 1 Aya deals a lot of damage, makes a lot of forces.
Oh, and look
Still
at Orange's
closer.
face as well.
Still
He
a lot
is
closer.
extremely happy. Cannot believe it. That was incredibly tense last game on pretty much a knife's edge up until the very last turn.
Super back and forth. That Orange's opening hand made it look like that game was going to be a lot less interactive than it was, but yeah, definitely got a cool game of Hearthstone.
Yeah, change the mold here a little bit, and maybe you got a game.
Yeah,
Another title
So
for
back
Orange.
and forth.
Tell you what, man, this guy's got a lot of tournament wins under his belt.
Yeah. Yeah, even if there's a string of like bad finishes, Orange great at getting those first place finishes. Excellent player. Props to him.
Yeah, props to SjoW, though, as well, though. I mean, what a performance he had this tournament.
Yeah, it's a big finals for Sweden.
Yeah, 2 Swedish players to the finals. Something that was happening, too, as pointed out, they dominated Germany all tournament long as well.
Come on, mate.
Orange.
Come on, mate.
What a
Sit down.
victory. 4-2.
Get you on the camera.
And you close out another title. I mean, how you feeling, man?
I
feeling good.
usually do not get nervous during matches or during tournaments. I always say that's like one of my strengths, but I was an emotional wreck there at the end. Of course, it feels amazing. I can't really describe it. It was a very long time since I won a tournament, so winning SeatStory for a second time, I couldn't feel better.
Yeah, congrats, man. It was super well played the entire way through. That Druid opening hand was solid. I've seen worse.
Yeah, I was a little bit scared because you can run out of gas if you don't run Nourish, but I solved that problem pretty nicely.
The game was so cool, so back and forth. I mean, the whole set, honestly, the whole series seemed to play well. Are you happy with how you played? Anything you wish you could have done differently?
Sorry?
Are you happy with how you played throughout the set? Were there any tough turns?
I think I screwed up pretty badly against Arena Lock in the last game, where I didn't have two. I had 2 lines. One was go all face, play Ancient of War, but that's really, really weak to Shadow Flame. The second line I had in my head was to trade both minions into Sylvanas, make him steal a free, and then play my 2 Jade cards. But it ended up with me running out of time, and I did the in-between, which is just really, really terrible against Shadow Flame. So I think I screwed that up really badly. Other than that, thinking back on the other games, I feel like I played all right, but right now it's kind of hard to remember the entire series.
Cool.
All right. Well, congratulations, man. Big win for Sweden again. Big win for you. Yeah, Mosby, good ending to the new metagame, like one of the bigger tournaments after the new metagame settles.
Yeah, I think this is one of the best expansions that's been released for quite some time. Like the entire metagame shifted, and it's feels really new and refreshing to play Hearthstone again.
Yeah, and in terms of the Jade Druids, I know it's a deck you're really enjoying at the moment. It's a deck a lot of people don't think is that powerful. Like, how well has it done for you in this tournament as a whole? Because obviously we saw the last game then, which was extremely close, but got it done. How well has it performed overall here?
Well, except for Rogue, which I added now to the top 8, I think Jade Druid was by far the most overperforming deck. It's the reason why I won some series single-handedly. Pretty much because it's such a good deck against the unexpected decks that people bring. I played against some Arena Mage, some Control Shaman, stuff like that. And Jade Druid is such a powerful deck at going late because you can never go into fatigue thanks to the Jade Idols. It just beats all of those matchups. So you kind of have a safety for the people that are trying to do something different by bringing Jade Druid. As well as I just think that people underrate how strong matchups it has against the popular decks too.
Yeah, awesome. Makes a lot of sense. Crushing any and all innovation at the tournament single-handedly.
One deck to kill them all.
Yeah, well, Orange, it's been a fantastic victory, but here's your trophy, man.
All right, good job, man.
SeatStory Cup 6 champion Orange.
Thanks, everyone.
Orange, is there anyone you'd like to thank for helping you for this tournament, or any final words you have for everyone here?
I want to First of all, I want to thank my new team, Alliance. They've been a huge help since I've joined them. I also really want to thank my the two playtest smartest helped me the most for this is Ostkaka and Powder. Both of them have been great help for me. And also my usual group of SPO, Martin Creek, Freaky, Silas, Def Boost, those kind of people that are really, really helping me every day and help me get better at the game.
Yeah,
huge shout out to them.
Very strong pool of players. I see these guys on highlighter numbers all the time. Let's hear it one more time for SeatStory Cup 6 champion, Orange.
Woo!
Well, I think it's just going to about wrap things up here at SeatStory Cup 6. So for everyone watching, for everyone in production, for all the casters and all the players, we've enjoyed the event and we hope you have as well. Thank you so much for watching and have a good night.